Hey guys, and welcome back to the Franchise Tag Podcast, Season 3, Episode 13. We are available wherever you get your podcasts, whether that is Spotify, Amazon, Apple, what's the other one?
Overcast,
There you go, Overcast.
iHeartRadio,
Yep,
podcasts, all of them.
sure. Mm-hmm. Everywhere. Anywho,
We'll go ahead and kick right into it. Um, we're going to get into Thursday Night Football, which was a big one with the Seahawks winning in that game. They have taken control of the division, and it's a tight division that's going to be coming up for, these last few weeks. All of the top three teams of this division have clinched a playoff, and now it's just about seeding and about who's going to win the division. And that's one thing that's very different from the NFC side versus the AFC side is I feel like a lot of the division titles are still up in the air, whereas in terms of division titles on the AFC side, it feels like everything's kind of set in stone. Everyone's making bigger gaps, but on the NFC, it's like, okay, yeah, the Eagles have a decent little gap there, and just about everyone else doesn't. But in regards to this Rams Seahawks game, obviously a very tight one, a 1 point win by going for it in two in overtime. But the big controversy, the big Puka Nacua comments post game regarding the refereeing on that. I think it was the 2 point try. It might have been just a play from the two, but I feel like it was the 2 point try where the ball
backwards
was
pass.
yeah, it was ruled backwards pass quite a bit after the play had been done and they were lining up to kick. So the kind of big 2 point conversion attempt where it's incomplete, but then it's ruled a fumble, and Zach Charbonnet just happened to be the guy to just saunter over and grab the ball first. Because I think it's a dicey one because of the whole when you whistle play dead, it's dead thing, and there wasn't there was a whistle, but I guess the defense there is it wasn't as whistly as other whistles they call.
Okay, the way I saw it, right? I saw a lot of people saying that it was like a dumb call by the refs, and it's not. It's a dumb rule because it is a rule that you can advance a fumble on a 2 point conversion if you are not the person who fumbled, which is different from the rules outside of 2 point conversions where you cannot advance a fumble if you are not the one who fumbled.
In that regard, for the sideways pass, is it ruled a fumble by Darnold?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the other thing is when there is a turnover that is not immediately called a turnover, in the case of something like that, if it were to happen in a regular play, if somebody picks the ball up, that is ruled the recovery, like clear recovery, but they aren't allowed to advance it. But Charbonnet picked it up in the end zone. So
Yeah.
he was allowed to gain yards, but not to advance it past the point of recovery because everybody thought the play was dead.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a weird combination of a couple of different rules that happen to matter a ton in a really tight game in division, and it's just a weird that's something we'll probably never see again. That exact scenario playing out.
Yeah,
But
because it was on the 2 point attempt, and because it's after the fact ruled the sideways, effectively lateral, a non-forward pass, and then just in terms of all the angles they showed of that, I feel like people are just mad at the tightness of that and that being quote unquote reversed versus not. But yeah, that is what it is. It's a tight one to lose.
Making sure calls are correct. The what is it called? The review process that can happen on plays. I'm all for it. I think we've talked about that at length before. That kind of intrusiveness without forcing somebody to use a challenge flag to make sure that a play is called correctly is ultimately better for the sport. But it's another one of those things where the casual fan just doesn't have the immense bag of knowledge of the weird different rules, and that's why they have the rules analysts that come in, and I was not actively watching that game, so I don't know if they had Mike Tirico or whoever come in and say, or that's not the name.
Nope. I was
No,
like, that's just a commentator.
yeah. Who's the?
Sterator is one.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't
I don't know
know.
if they had. I don't know if they had a Gene Steratore come in and say
I don't know
like
who the
explain
Thursday
the
night one
rules.
is. Yeah.
But I've also noticed that a lot of times they don't even explain the rules as much. They just kind of say, "Yep, that's the correct call," and then they
Yeah.
just kind of go on with it. And it's like, okay,
They
but that
they give
doesn't.
their like opinion on it, where it's like, yeah, this is correct, or nope, they should not be calling this that, and then it cuts back to the refs, and they're like, we are calling it that, and then the broadcast loses their mind over it.
And there's no like or there's no reference to the rule book, which I feel like there should be, especially for the casual fan who's watching the game that doesn't know, that
It
needs the
it
Gene
really does
Steratore input.
vary on the the knowledge of the actual rules analyst of that broadcast, because and also I'd say sometimes they don't give the like former referee that's on the broadcast the time to really speak on it, because like, okay, that
Yeah.
call was already made, we have to just carry on to the next thing and keep doing the play-by-play and color commentary after that. So then it's like not enough attention is being brought to the controversial call to make it any less controversial to the people who are just watching at home.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's not really a good way to fix that, because it's just kind of there's no good time to talk about it, and
Yeah.
no casual fan is going to go out of their way to find out why something was called a certain way. They're just going to be outraged over it. So
And then we'll move on to another one that kind of also, I mean, had some outrage at the end of it. At least I disagree with the outrage, but fans gonna fan, and that's gonna be the Steelers Lions game. This was a must-win game for the Lions to keep any real significant chance at playoffs alive. And man, we ran the ball 11 times in this game. And when we got David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, I feel like we should run the ball a little more than that. But, Jahmyr Gibbs, I think he was like 4 for negative yards. So he had 4 attempts, no positive gain yet. And just never really had a run game open up for us. And so that's what leads to Jared Goff attempting 54 passes in this game. And also, it felt like the whole third quarter was pretty much a wash, because we only had 3 offensive plays in the third quarter, and one of them resulted in a safety. So it wasn't a great setup for the third quarter. But any Lions fan would know that we always have turd quarters. We always come out of the half flat, and then we have to make up for it in the fourth quarter. And this was just a game that, as it was getting along, and we still couldn't get a run game going. I turn to my wife and I say, this is going to be the classic Lions loss. We're going to get in a hole during the third quarter, and then we're going to have this resurgence of the passing offense in the fourth quarter. And then we're going to need our defense to make just one stop. And that one stop may or may not happen, but it likely will happen. And on the last drive, our offense won't get the score that we need. And then that's exactly what happened, where we got the one stop we needed late in the game. We got the ball back, and we start driving down the field, and then this is when the controversy begins. A lot of people have more gripes with like the very end of the game, but I feel like that was the easier call, the more clear OPI. The one that happened a couple plays prior, where it was an OPI on a touchdown that was nullified from Amon-Ra St. Brown, that one I felt was a little more or less ticky-tack, because it did look more like Tesla wasn't in control of where he was going. He was kind of it was pressed at the line by his defender, and then a linebacker was trying to chase to the outside with Amon-Ra St. Brown and bumps into Tesla and the defender guarding Tesla. So, I felt like that was more so the one that you would have wanted to not be called, because it looked like Tesla's not in control of moving his body into this other person, and it was more so the Steelers defender pushing him and the other one not adjusting to them being in his way and just kind of causing that extra traffic there. Which, I mean, it's a play call that's meant to cause traffic. It's not meant to cause the OPI.
yeah.
And so then that one was called back, and then there was a penalty on us, so it was no longer like at the 1 yard line. It was then we were at the 11. And then I'm not sure if you saw the clip at all, but it's a pass to Amon-Ra St. Brown, like inches shy of the end zone, and then they don't call the play dead until he's like pushed back, like well they don't call the play dead at all, but Amon-Ra's pushed back like 5 yards, and then he starts to fall, and he laterals it to Jared Goff, who catches it, runs into the end zone, jumping over somebody who's like going for his legs, and then that was called a touchdown, but Amon-Ra St. Brown pushed off, and this was with zeros on the clock, so that was the end of the game. But there was like a big chunk of time spent where the refs were just standing around talking, and everyone's like running up to the refs, and the refs are like, "Guys, can you give us space?" And it was just a few minutes long of them discussing it, and I was like, "Can y'all just like, we all saw the OPI. Can you just kind of call it that, please?"
Yeah.
But,
no, the only clip from that game that I saw was DK Metcalf on the sideline with the fan. So
yeah, true. Which,
apparently, I just saw this morning, he had reported that fan last year in a game. Same fan. He had reported it for something. And
yeah.
there's a certain responsibility you have as a player to kind of not let things phase you, but at the same time, if he said something,
there's a certain level of responsibility as an adult in real life to control your actions despite what people are saying to you.
There's also a certain responsibility of a fan to, keep your damn mouth shut. But
we'll see, because the allegation was like, oh, he said the N-word and then he called DK Metcalf's mom the C-word. And there's worse things that could be said.
But
also there was a video from like a fan that was next to the guy, and the guy just like captioned the video saying that the guy's defense, the fan's defense was, "Oh, I called him by his government name, and then he punched me. Like he grabbed me by the neck of my shirt and then punched at me." And then
I don't think DeKalen would have gotten that reaction out of.
No, but the posted video from the fan that was nearby, you couldn't hear the exchange, but their caption said, "DeKalen does not like being called his government name." And it's like, interesting pairing of evidence here.
Yeah.
Who knows what was said? Either way,
it's gonna end up being the Aaron
DK
Donald
Metcalf.
Mason Rudolph thing where we don't actually know what was said.
Yeah.
But in this case, no, that wasn't Aaron Donald. Miles Garrett. My bad.
Wrong guy. But it yields a two game suspension for DK Metcalf, which like irks me just a little bit, because I'm like, so you let him finish the game against the Lions? Kidding me?
Did he do anything in the game against the Lions?
I mean, it wasn't like he had a big play or a big touchdown score, but like he's a member of their offense and he had catches. Like we didn't lock him down.
I wasn't sure.
Our DBs aren't capable of that. But yeah, I mean, 4 for 42, and I think it was like all of them were first downs. So I mean, you average 10 yards, it's going to be that. But they got 4 first downs by targeting DK Metcalf. That's a big enough difference in a game.
Fair.
That may have not happened with Calvin Austin or someone or the other.
You underestimate Calvin Austin and Aaron Rodgers' love of him.
Yes, but big body DK Metcalf versus Calvin Austin. Quite a difference. Then we'll move on to Sunday Night Football here with
my boys, my Patriots pulled out the victory. Now, yes, there was a Lamar Jackson injury that may have assisted in our victory, but Lamar got outplayed by Snoop in the second half, so I don't know that there would have been much of a difference. And honestly, this year, Lamar, I'm just stat sheet watching, so I should hold my tongue a little bit, but stat sheets have not looked particularly appealing to a Lamar Jackson fan such as myself, because he has been throwing more interceptions and less touchdowns and running the ball less, it seems, the further into the year we get. And maybe it's a semi-injured kind of thing, but it just doesn't seem like he is quite himself at this point in the year.
In terms of the Lamar Jackson versus Snoop Huntley, I don't know. I think I would rather have 2 less completions and have an extra like 36 yards from it, and no sacks.
Hey man,
but
Snoop.
That's just me. Drake May, of course, outplayed both of them by a large margin.
Yeah, 300-yard game, his first one.
and almost cracked 400 on that as well.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, that was the real issue for them heading into that early lead they took. It was off the back of Derrick Henry, and then shockingly they lose, a quarterback, and then they're a little more honed in on the running back, and
Yeah.
things kind of go from there on making the game get a little out of hand. I did feel like late in the game when I was watching off and on during the game, and after that, first half without Lamar in there, I was a little intrigued by the taking of Derrick Henry out of some plays where I'm like, you have the
Yeah.
lead currently. It's not exactly like a pass only situation where you want to go ahead and defer to your, more, pass heavy, your Keaton Mitchells and stuff, your receiving backs. I feel like you might just want to keep Derrick Henry in,
I will say, fumble issues have been a thing for Derrick Henry, and he did fumble in this game as well. So that may have been a decision to say, hey, we're winning right now. Let's not risk another fumble. Let's put Keaton Mitchell in. And then Zay Flowers fumbled, and, should have just given it to Keaton. But
I mean, yes, but no, because I feel like that fumble was early enough on where it was.
well, no. The Derrick Henry fumble, yeah. But, like, they may have thought about it and said, okay, Derrick Henry has had fumble issues before. Like, it's not a new thing.
He had this
that,
resurgence this year, yeah.
Yeah, of more fumbles. And I think that if you're Harbaugh and you're sitting there and you're like, okay, we have the lead right now. The last thing we want is a turnover, because that's a momentum shift in addition to them getting the ball. Let's take the fumbler out. It'd be like us taking Ramondre out of the game.
Like a Batman.
Yeah, I know. It's rich coming from me, right? But yeah, I don't know. I do think it was odd to bench Derrick Henry for basically the rest of that game after that, but
yeah,
I'll take the victory.
Yeah, right. Especially in a game that matters so much for the Ravens in terms of keeping pace with the Steelers, to make playoffs. I feel like despite the shortcoming, you might want to still lean on the stars of the team, and stars of the team. One of them's injured, so lean on the other one.
Yeah.
But yeah, he saw 44% of the snaps in that game. And with the performance he had with those 44% of snaps, I would have given him a little bit more. But that's just me. Couch.
Well, you're not an NFL head coach,
yeah.
So.
Couch head coaching over here. But that's my opinion. Now, we'll wrap up with the Monday Night Football game. A quick little pit stop on there before we get into other things. And it was a handed victory for the Niners against, this Colts team that just absolutely fell off a cliff, just very quickly. And Phillip Rivers, I will say in this one, much better performance than last week. Not against a top 2 defense.
Yeah, right.
So that would help. And then you get into the start of this game. I mean, it was strike after strike for both teams, just responding one after the other. The Niners did have a little bit of help by their special teams getting a fumble, so short field, able to, take advantage of that. But then Phillip Rivers still goes out, leads us very successful, makes a throw that is quite contested. Rodgers come down with it. This guy liked Alec early in the game.
Yeah, he did.
And then that's when, some of the lusters leaving, they're kicking field goals, and then the Niners come out of half and they, get more of that fire behind them with scoring touchdowns, and it's just kind of lost, the Colts lost that ground to gain back. It just kept growing. So I will say, shout out to Phillip Rivers for not just doing the I want to retire for one game. Oh, I didn't do that good. Oh, I'll hang it back up. He's sticking through with it, and it looked like massive improvement week to week. Just in terms of the way that the offense flowed and the way that he was delivering strikes.
I saw somebody say, I know Kevin O'Connell would love to get his hands on a 45-year-old Phillip Rivers next season. I was like, yeah, anything's better than 9, but
anything anything to improve at the quarterback position for them. But the Colts, they then extend their loss streak to 5, and their chances of making anything versus where we saw them midseason. I mean, 2% chance to make playoffs, and that's a very specific window of opportunity with the Texans at the top of the not even at the top of the division, but keeping them out at the 7th seed. So,
and that's
see how that shakes out. But
what was it, 85% chance to make playoffs earlier in the year when they were 8-1, something?
Yeah, I mean, when you're 8-1, like, you need 2 wins and you've clinched it effectively, and they couldn't. They just couldn't. But that's going to do it for our wrap-up. And we're going to go ahead and move on to our segment for today, which we are going to kind of review the teams that we had drafted up to this point in the season, our offensive side of the ball with our position drafts that we did. No defense, and that's because we're calling it a little early in terms of our scheduling's been a little weird this season, so being able to hit an end point after the offense seems better than to stop halfway through the defense, as this is our last full-length podcast, and into the off-season and postseason we'll be doing more just video-style videos. Shocker. But
imagine, what would be fun? This is, we can leave this in just because I want to see the people's reaction, if you will. But if we were to do rookie drafts like this, like the rookie quarterback class and drafting that, it would take some ball knowledge if we were to have that many attributes and have to draft 10 different rookie quarterbacks. But,
yeah,
it could be an interesting way to address the draft class if that tickles people's fancy.
I'd say it'd be more difficult for you as someone who isn't part of the scouting department here at Franchise Tech. But
very true.
I could definitely reach into a bag when I'm in the heat of my scouting reports and stuff.
I'd take a Tulane quarterback for arm talent.
Which I was shocked to see them in playoffs. I was not shocked to see how that ended. Anyways, getting into the positions that we have drafted, we'll start off with quarterback and kind of work our way down the list here. Go with what we did furthest away, what we're most removed from. See how we feel about that. Now, the Joe Milton versus Matthew Stafford arm talent we have. Easy win for you, I will say. And I'm thinking we kind of go through this semi-fast. We're just picking the immediate winners of each trait. So I'll give you the Joe Milton over Stafford for arm talent.
Okay.
The zip on those balls would be nuts.
I will absolutely give you Fields over Kyler for rushability. I could have gone a different way with rushability for sure.
That one's very fair. Jared Goff, latter half of the season accuracy versus Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to give you Aaron Rodgers. Goff has been very accurate for a long time, but he did just have a few games where the ball was not being put on the money.
Yeah.
Improv. Now, this is the clear winner.
Oh, of course. This draft was done at the part of the season where Drake May was still kind of like entering the top 5 talks, and we were like discussing whether or not we keep him, like we put him in or keep him out, and same with Matt Stafford. And I think if we did it now, we would probably not have the same ban list, and Stafford and Drake May would probably both be banned. But
but Drake May wasn't
clear.
And I got
winner there. Yeah.
And then we get to IQ, and I'm gonna take myself out of this one because Jaden Daniels hasn't been healthy enough to show he's smart. So.
Some of the IQ stuff is knowing when to slide, and Jaden Daniels. Well,
yeah, this was Bryce Young for Gabe's pick versus my pick of Jaden Daniels, and I will say with the way that they've turned the season around, I would feel better about having a Bryce Young intelligence at the line to gain as opposed to Jaden Daniels, who even when he's made these quick little pops into the lineup, the games don't look the best for the Commanders. So there is that.
So overall, I took 3, you took 2, but I will say I think the difference between Sam Darnold and Drake May as far as improv goes might even things out a little bit to where we're looking at a pretty even battle. That combined with obviously Stafford's arm talent is not that much worse than Joe Milton's. and Goff's accuracy is
I
only
will.
slightly worse than Rodgers. So I think,
Yeah, I'd say these are like the bigger gaps. Fields over Murray isn't. I mean, I feel like it's quite large, but that's just because he runs like a toddler and one doesn't.
yeah, he's a little older too, and got benched. So there's that. Both these Russian quarterbacks actually have gotten benched since we've done this draft.
Yeah, true. We both went with guy. We had stated during that we were like, hey, maybe we should take more backups, right? But
Well, we inadvertently did.
they are now.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll call that one a pretty even one, despite it being a 3-2 score. And then we'll get into running backs. Now, you went ahead. You got your homer pick for speed, which was Travion Henderson. And I got Devon Achane, who is another one that, like, maybe he should have been a little bit, on the bad list. But neither here nor there.
I will say those Travion Henderson long touchdowns
so
kind of show off. Yeah. There's only so much like speed you can have.
Yeah,
I may give the nod to Achane just because he's been that fast for longer. Because he's
older.
I tend to,
Shocker.
yeah. And normally, you're looking at the younger guys faster, but I think here I'll give the nod to Achane, especially with Henderson being hurt now. So
yeah, and then getting into carrying, you went with Kyron Williams, which I did like as a shout in that video. I went with Rico Dowdle, and I think I would agree that Kyron Williams probably has a better track record there. Dowdle had his issues when he was with the Cowboys, and he didn't have any so much this season, but I mean, neither
small sample size. He got
yeah.
He's been effectively taken out of the starting role after two 200-yard games, which
after the start of the season.
That's going to be a deep bag pull one day, is that Rico Dowdle had 2 straight 200-plus yard rushing games and then never started a game again for anybody.
Yeah, that's certainly something. And, I mean, he's moved out of top 5, but he was top 5 in the league for rushing stats for a long time, and I think he's
just
still
off
top
those
10.
2 games. Yeah.
So, yeah. That'll be a fun little trivia question one day.
Receiving, I'll give you Breece Hall 100% over
Kamara, Breece Hall. This is that factor of like being younger helps in this one. With Kamara, the talent started to peter off a little bit as he gets up there in age. Now, power being Quinshon Judkins and Ashton Genty.
Quinshon Judkins has a broken leg, so
hindsight.
His power's a little lower now.
I don't think he has as much power in those legs as you'd hope. And then I think it was like a clavicle or like a shoulder thing too. Like guy got banged up bad.
Yeah, I didn't watch the game, but I think I saw a screenshot of his leg, and it was not pretty. It was pretty Tyreek Hill-esque almost.
So, anyways, Genty got Bozo.
And then James Cook over Bucky Irving for moves for sure as well.
Who'd have thunk? So James Cook steal on the running back.
Yeah, you've cleared me out pretty heavily. I think we would have James Cook on a banned list now if we did this. But
I will say I don't like him and Achane probably, though Achane would be more likely to be left out of it. Now we get into our nice little double segment, our double header, where we had a wide receiver, where we both did 2 wide receivers.
I think we picked 2 winners then from each position, each category. I think you take speed on both of these. You've got Xavier Worthy and Jameson Williams over Jalen Waddle, Rashid Shaheed.
Yeah, I will say Waddle is Shaheed. I wouldn't say is as close as the other 3, but Jalen Waddle is as close to the 2 of mine. But obviously, when one is the record holder, it's hard to unseat him.
And the other is somebody who didn't test at the 40, but probably would have contended for that record if he did.
Yeah. Then we get into our route running, which is CeeDee Lamb, Ladd McConkey for you, and then Mika Ibuka and Devontae Adams for me. I think this is a pretty split one where it's going to be a CeeDee Lamb for you and Adams for me.
That's what I was thinking as well, yeah.
Hard for Adams to not get it, but for McConkey or Mika Ibuka to sneak into those with the other 2 names there, that would have been a tough ask. Then we get into hands. George Pickens, Drake London, Terry McLaurin, and Michael Pittman Jr.
I lean my side on both of these, but let me know if that's me being a homer.
I think the Pickens one is a clear one, especially this season. And the Terry catches haven't really been hitting this year.
I was going to say, I think Terry was the last pick of the draft. I'm not going to lie. I think that was final.
I did sneak with him as like a I had him in mind for it, and then it wasn't picked, so I was like, I'll take it. But they haven't really been coming this year because of the quarterback rotation that we've been seeing. So now we're looking at a pretty split thing here as we get into yards after catch, in which we've got Debo Samuel and Zay Flowers for you, Khalil Shakir and Rashee Rice for me.
Rashee is the
Rice
easy, clear winner for you.
Is the top tier there. Zay has had, I suppose with the season they've had. I mean, Debo's kind of hard to account for.
It's the
Same
same
reason
as the,
with Terry
the Terry
McLaurin.
thing. And Khalil Shakir, honestly, too. He's not been used as much in the Bills system.
So it has been quite the fall off for everybody else.
Yeah.
Outside of Rice, it's hard to pick a number 2 here, but I will give it to, I think, Zay.
I'm leaning that just because he's the only one getting meaningful snaps anymore, and it's like maybe his yak is not his strongest suit or like that crazy, but it is better than Debo and Shakir, who are not seeing the ball come their way at all. So
Yeah,
that's my lean. I mean, he took a run 18 yards to the house against the Patriots. So
although I will say Shakir, in terms of yards after catch, is actually third in the league. So despite the lack of the usage being there, he's still actually getting all of his yards
after
catch. So there's that to factor in. So, and then Zay Flowers is 11th on that same list. So maybe it does go to Shakir.
Yeah, well, that's fine. We'll do that. And then as far as strength, again, I lean my two Ole Miss boys, A.J. Brown and D.K. Metcalf.
Yeah, I mean, D.K. Metcalf really showed with that whiffed punch, all that strength that he has bottled up. T. Higgins I still really like, but
yeah,
I think T. Higgins is like a close second to either of your guys, and your guys are like 1A, 1B. So
yeah,
in terms of, wide receiver victory here, we got 5 points for you and 5 points for me, perfectly splitting on those.
Yeah.
So not as big a blowout as we saw with the running backs. So
yeah. I will say
it's purely running backs right now.
It's quite interesting as well that we didn't have like one receiver that had all the tick boxes. Like we had the most of single player had was 3.
Yeah,
3 wins.
We did.
Like 3 is.
We
the
did make
most.
sure we balanced our teams.
Yeah.
I will say, if I'm looking at it and I'm picking a single wide receiver from this list, it's got to be Jamison Williams speed, Devontae Adams catching, Rashee Rice after catch, Mike Evans a little injured, but he's got some strength in there. I promise.
Yeah.
And then we get into the last one that we did this season, and that is tight end, where we had a little bit extra traits, where we added in blocking and size alongside yak, hands, routes, and speed. So going side by side with speed, Evan Ingram and Noah Fant.
Yeah, should have taken Kyle Pitts, but
yeah, we did end up not drafting Kyle Pitts at all throughout that segment, and
which is so interesting because he is like the tight end draft tight end.
I thought you were going to take him for the prototypical size. You could have taken him for speed. I definitely was like, he'll take him for sure. I don't want to even have him in mind. And then the whole draft ended, and it was like, oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Evan Ingram, Noah Fant. I feel like this is pretty comparable. So it's almost like just straight up a tie.
It's a wash, yeah.
Yeah. There is no winner here.
Give them both a check. They're both winners.
Yeah. We'll give us both a point for them. Routes, we got Kincaid, but then we have out for season Sam Laporta. So I'll go ahead and have to opt to the player who's actually on the field and give Dalton Kincaid the win on routes. I will say, when healthy, Sam Laporta, love his routes. Guy's always open.
Valid. He's a receiver of tight ends.
Mm-hmm. And a good move blocker. And then we get into hands, where we got Dallas Goedert and we've got Jake Ferguson.
I feel like you got that one with Jake Ferguson.
I was going to say,
it's not that Goddard
like
has bad hands, but Ferguson's entire game is his hands. So.
He's got that little notch where he's better than your average tight end at that. And, most tight ends are just average in terms of hands. Some below average, cough, 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 Chiefs legend. And then we get into yards after catch, where it was Dalton Schultz is, I think, my last pick of the draft, and versus Harold Fannin Jr. So Harold Fannin Jr. is going to go ahead and sneak that one by. Blocking.
Sneak. I think pretty handedly.
Pat Freiermuth and Dawson Knox.
I think Dawson Knox was my last pick of the draft, and I think that was just my little shout at the end.
Yeah, I would lean Pat. I mean,
Okay, I will do that, or
as a unit.
I'll agree. And then Darnell Washington as well. I think. So Donald Parham is on the Steelers roster. He's on IR. Been on IR the whole season. I did not know that when I drafted him. So that is
that'll do it.
I looked him up to see if he was in the
alive?
league.
Like,
yeah, I was looking to see if he was in the league because I knew he wouldn't be starting. I knew he wasn't going to be like getting meaningful minutes, but I was unaware that he was on season-ending IR and had been the whole year. So
see, I think when I got Laporta, he wasn't yet on IR because he had yet to get like surgery for this injury. So it was like not known the severity of his injury, and then voila. IR because the surgery ends his season. So we end up with this one where it's a 3-4. And, out of the kindness of my heart, I will end up giving Dawson Knox the nod over Fryermuth because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter in terms of total points, as I did have such a sweep on running back.
Yeah, I was going to say, though, I do recall after the tight end draft, just looking at this and thinking mine was so much better than yours. And now going through picking like player by player, I'm like, maybe I was mistaken.
Yeah,
maybe I don't recall as much, but
yeah,
I think it was the Yak
Ingram
pick
pretty
that
even,
was,
and the Yak was pretty
biggest
separating.
gap.
Yeah. And then we both had our own disqualifications. Although I will say,
Mine was
routes
much
is
more
probably a more important one. Like
it is, but my disqualification was much more disqualification-y than yours.
Yes, fair. I think, size-wise, if it wasn't a disqualification, it would have been both points for us and both points in speed. Size speed being pretty matchy for those players. And then the separation would have come with the fact that I think Laporta would have won the routes competition there versus Kincaid versus...
I will say, even without disqualification, I would take Darnell Washington over Parham because they are basically the same height, but Washington has like 70 pounds on Donald Parham. So,
which I will say, watching the Steelers this past weekend, I was like, dude, he's literally an offensive lineman. This is insane.
But
watching
fast. He's just a really fast offensive lineman.
I don't know because all of our players are backups at this point. But number 12 for the Lions, he's a safety. He
got destroyed by running into him, right?
Yeah, there was not even that play. Like before that happened, he was man coverage on Washington, and I was like, dude, it's like there's a child guarding him. Like he goes up, and you can see the tops of his numbers, of Washington's numbers, above this guy's head as they're like running head to head to each other. Like this, he's such a monster.
Yeah, I mean, you get a 5'10", 5'9" safety out there, and you got a 6'8" Darnell Washington.
Yeah,
and,
there's quite a gap.
It is. Who would you have manned up with Darnell Washington?
Two people, and both of them linebackers.
Two people, one on each other's shoulders with a trench coat.
Yep. Yeah. Stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
Both the tallest linebackers I have, so that way we have a 12-foot giant in the middle of the field, middle of the defense.
I wonder if anybody's ever tried that.
I feel like
field goal block.
Possibly in the rule
illegal?
book that might not be allowed, but piggyback ride on field goal block would be nuts.
Trench coats are not permitted uniforms.
Yeah, just the one guy has to have like extra padding on his hands, but he just like catches their feet and throws them over him. His back is facing the kicker, and he's just like, all right, up you pop.
Yeah,
catches it, intercepts the field goal.
Intercept the field. You'd have to have some good aim, because what if he shoots it off a little bit to the right or the left, and then you miss it, and you're like reaching out off to the side, just flailing your arm,
and then no one's there to catch you. This guy just oh no, and the forward momentum, so he just like lands on top of the offensive lineman.
Lands on the kicker, and the kicker, the 5'8", 120-pound kicker who's never had a contact in his life.
It's like a Looney Tunes episode. There's just like a pancake of the kicker on the ground. Just
he played soccer until last week.
Yeah. Here he is. He auditioned just this week, and now he is flat. With a closing of the podcast season, we do have some quick games that we won't probably dive into too much next week. Just depends on the segment we make for next week to be our standalone video. But the games to look forward to for any semblance of playoff, implications. Well, we've got the 49ers, Seahawks, and Rams, who are all battling for the division title. And that's going to be Niners versus Bears, Seahawks versus Panthers, Rams versus Falcons. And then the only other one that really has much implication is the Ravens versus Packers, because if the Ravens want to hold on to hope, they need to win, and if the Packers want to solidify themselves as the 7th seed, they need to win this one as well. And they are going to need to do that with quite some injuries that they've been suffering lately.
We're both rooting for the Ravens pretty heavily in that one, then I take it.
Yeah. The Lions.
Boo Steelers. That's my reasoning.
Boo Steelers. Go Lions. Out of these games, we'll do our last pick'ems of the podcast season. And 49ers Bears. How you feeling?
I'm impressed by the Bears, and I will trust them to continue impressing. So I'm going to take the Bears, even though the 49ers did just drop 50, basically.
Yeah. They did drop 50 over a team that is reeling. I don't imagine they will do that over a team that is like thriving as of right now, where I will say the Bears keep barely winning these games.
Bear.
Pun intended.
Nice one.
So I gotta opt for the guys that just barely know how to win versus, like it's why you pick the Chiefs every game of the year last season. Like they're gonna win in the end.
Well,
it's not gonna look pretty. But
I didn't do that.
For Seahawks Panthers, long shot for the Panthers to win this one. I'm going Seahawks.
I'll take the Panthers. I'll take the underdog.
Yeah, I like them as the underdog. If the Lions lose, if there's no chance for the Lions to make playoffs, I really hope the Panthers are in the playoffs, because then I have something to root for on the NFC side of the ball, as opposed to just rooting for the Eagles to get walked first round. So I'm hopeful for the Panthers, but Seahawks is going to get my pick this week. And then Rams Falcons. I'll
take the Rams. Falcons have not looked as
potent,
competent.
Kirk O'Chansey. I don't know. I lean Rams. They're just they need to win, so I imagine they will. And then I think we kind of gave away who we're rooting for in the Ravens Packers. So yeah, I'll be rooting hard for the Ravens.
I'll pick them too. You know what? I'll go further than just rooting for them. I'll say they're going to win.
True. I'm picking them too. So I think that'll wrap us up. A nice, short, sweet finale. Serenade. Au revoir. All other words. Auf Wiedersehen. We have no
Merry
German
Christmas.
audience.
My dad's German.
Whoa, we have a German audience. It doesn't show up on analytics as geographically German, though. We'll say.
No, he's geographically Texas.
Yes. So. That does make it hard to be geographically German.
Yes, it does. But yeah, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all the good things.
Happy holidays. Enjoy your New Year. Actually, we'll have a video before then. Enjoy your family. Hanukkahs and your
if you like your
Kwanzas
family.
And your Christmases and your criminies. But with that.
Jiminy Crimnus.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo.